Hey everyone, my name is Tommy Reynolds. Welcome to the Virtual Photography Show. This talk is all about why it's important as a photographer you should be sharing your creative process or sharing behind the scenes content, as it were. This is something that I've been doing for years now and has proved so popular and has been my number one marketing technique in order to progress as a photographer, and that is sharing my creative process. I've been sharing the creative process and how I shoot or showing behind the scenes videos for about 4 years now, and I can say without hesitation that sharing my creative work or showing behind the scenes has been the number one marketing tool for me as a photographer. Not only is it a great marketing tool, but it also makes me feel extremely creatively fulfilled, and that is hugely important. But before we get into that, before we get into the financial gain and that sort of thing, I first of all want to tell you why you would even take people behind the scenes of your work. Now, I can totally appreciate you might feel hesitant about showing people your creative process, showing them how you work, showing them what lighting you use. I can totally empathize that you may be a little bit nervous about showing that because you think, oh, what will people think of the gear I use? Or what if people don't like the way I do something? Let me tell you, it couldn't be further from the truth. One of my favorite quotes from Brené Brown, she said, vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. And that is a big advantage of why you can share your creative process, is that it shows vulnerability, it humanizes you, it shows how you work together in a team, it shows your love of photography. But sometimes you can even show mistakes you've made, but coming back to point number one, it humanizes you. If we're looking at social media, everyone just compares their behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reels. There's a great danger of that. We all know, we can all see through it, can't we? We're very well educated. We can call out people's bullshit, and we know when people are faking it or when people genuinely have real love. If you have real love for this craft like I do, you can show it in a behind the scenes video, or you can show it in how you're preparing for a shoot. Now, I'm not saying that you have to talk on camera. I'm not saying that at all, because I didn't start talking to camera for a couple of years into this. To give you context, when I first started making behind the scenes videos, I remember this is way back when I was doing lots of corporate work and I nearly quit photography because I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. I was losing that creative fulfillment because I made that transition from as a hobbyist to a professional and only doing work that paid the bills and only doing corporate headshots. People were only calling me up because they wanted a corporate headshot, and then I realized, well, that's only because that's all that's on my website. I don't have any kind of creative shoots on my website because I stopped doing them. So I made a choice right there to create one personal project a month, one idea for me and no one else. And for the first couple of personal projects I did, I had them filmed by my friend Mike, who films all of my content even today. I had him come along to film a behind the scenes video. Now, my intention back then was just to show people what I did and how I did it. And also it was more just for an archive for me to look back on and say, this is what we did in that shoot. This is the gear that we use. This is this, this is this, this is this. And when I put those videos online, I was not expecting the huge reaction and engagement that I received from the video. Not the photos, the video. And I used those videos and I handed them to loads of different brands and said, can I collaborate? One of which was Pixapro, Essential Photo. I've now been working with Pixapro for about 4 years now. We collaborate almost every month. And I said to the CEO of Pixapro, I said to him, way back in the day when I first approached you and gave you those behind the scenes videos, would you have taken a chance and worked with me if you hadn't seen the video? Not the photos, but the video, the creative process. And he said, probably not. And I said, well, why is that? And he said, well, with a video, we could see how you interacted with the model. We could see what gear you were using, how you were treating the gear, how you built the gear up, how you built the story up, the concept up from planning to shooting to actually obviously showing the final product, which is the images. That was a light bulb moment for me. That was when I realized that with a video, you can show not only the final images, but you can show how you work with the model, how you work with the team around you, the gear that you're using, how you look after it, how you take this ambient light and make it look something completely different using flash, for example. It gives the shoot context. It makes you appreciate, as a viewer, it makes you appreciate just what the team or the photographer had to do in order to get that shot. They had to get maybe all this equipment into this tiny space. Maybe they had to get a blow-up bed in the middle of the lake and put a girl on top and then get someone in waders to get in. Maybe they had to wait 6 months in order to get this location because of the time of year. You can't show all that in a final image, but you can show that showing the creative process. That can be in the form of behind the scenes. You can do Instagram stories. You can just simply share time lapses. You don't have to talk to camera. You can share sketches on your other social media platforms. You can show so much and share so much of your creative process. I grew up on DVD extras. I'm 30 now, and you know, I would always be the one to go out and make sure I buy the 2-disc edition. I never bought the 1-disc because I really wanted to watch the behind the scenes of the film, because it made me appreciate the film more, knowing what the director and what the team had to do in order to get the shots. I'm sure you as a photographer, you will most likely feel the same way. People would say, doesn't that ruin the film? No, it doesn't. I enjoy the film so much more knowing what they had to do in order to get that shot. And this is the same with behind the scenes videos. Behind the scenes, you can show the beginning, the middle, and then the image is the end. Rather than just showing the end product, show people what you did to get there. It's all about the context. Let me give you an example about context. So this is my favorite anecdote from one of my favorite authors called Austin Kleon. Now on screen you can see 2 images. So what I want you to do, this is an example of giving you guys context, okay? So imagine you're a wealthy collector who's just entered the gallery in an art museum. On the wall facing you, there are 2 gigantic canvases, each more than 10 foot high. Both images depict a sailing boat at sunset. From across the room, they look identical. The same boat, the same reflections on the water, the same sun at the same stage of setting. You go in for a closer look. You can't find a label or a museum tag anywhere. You become obsessed with the paintings, which you nickname Painting A and Painting B. You spend nearly an hour going back and forth from canvas to canvas, even down to the brush strokes. You can't detect a single difference. The head curator walks in and you inquire the origins of your new obsession. The curator tells you that Painting A was painted in the 17th century by a Dutch master. And what about Painting B? The curator says, that's a forgery. It was copied last week by a graduate student at a local art college. Now, even though they're exactly the same, what one would you rather take home? Would you rather take home Painting A or Painting B? You'd rather take home Painting A, right? Because of the story that I've just given you, because when that's on your wall, people come round and you'll tell them that it was painted in the 17th century by a Dutch master. Do you see how adding that bit of context just makes the image even better? You're attaching a story to it. We as humans, we just love the idea of storytelling, and sharing the creative process for me is an extension of that storytelling technique. And I do it in the form of moving image. As I said earlier, you can do it in other forms, time-lapse, sketches, etc, etc. For me though, behind the scenes video is the best way. We all do it. We've all seen countless videos on YouTube already, haven't we, where we see photo shoot tutorials. We watch them because we want to see how they do it and why they've chosen to put a light in a certain way. This is why you watch it, because it's that feed, that hunger of wanting to know how they've done something. So if you have clips or behind the scenes, or if you can bring a videographer or a friend who knows how to use a video camera to film some clips of you, if you can put that with the images, put some nice music behind it, I guarantee that that will do better than just sharing the image alone. For me, as I said, it's been my #1 marketing technique. I've had brands approach me because of the video I've posted, not because of it. People are more interested in how I shoot something, not what I shoot. I'm not the best photographer. You're not the best photographer ever. but the way you share it, that's what's unique. To give you another example, if you think of when you're at school, say secondary school, when I think of secondary school, I'm not thinking of a particular subject. I'm thinking of the teacher. I'm thinking of my favourite teacher, not because of the subject, but because of the way he taught the subject. That's what stands out for me. It's not the subject, it's the way you teach it. You know, that's how you be a good teacher. It's not just enough to know the subject, it's the way you obviously teach it. That's what makes you unique, and that's what can make you unique as a photographer. It's just the way you choose to share your work, how you package it up, build it up, which is why, again, I like to share as much as I can when I'm on set, even if that's just a form of a little Instagram story. Don't be shy, it's just a little 15-second clip, and just say, hey, my name's Tommy, I'm here on this shoot, we're about to do a portrait session. I've got my light up here at a 45-degree angle using this light I actually have. Then brands can see it and think, I want to work with him. Because not only does he create great images, he seems like a nice person to work with. And do you know what? Sometimes that's all it takes. Another point I want to make where some people might choose not to create behind the scenes is, well, what if I fail? What if it goes wrong? If things go wrong, show it. Again, it comes back to point number one, it humanizes you. You're a real person, you do make mistakes. I actually did a talk at the photography show, I think a couple of years ago, when I went to Ethiopia, and the last couple of days in, a lot of bad things happened, and I spent the last 5 or 10 minutes of my talk talking about how we nearly lost all of our images, we nearly got kidnapped, we got in with the wrong crowd. If you want to see it, it's on my YouTube channel. But the point is, after that talk, people were coming up to me and all they could talk about was the last 5 minutes of my talk. They almost completely ignored the first 25 minutes of me talking about the trip and what we did and stuff. All they were interested in was what went wrong. Everything doesn't go perfectly all the time. Again, social media is the worst for that, where we think that everything is perfect and we compare that with our own life and think, well, my life's not perfect. Well, neither is theirs, neither is mine. We all choose what to show, and if something goes wrong, then there might actually be more benefits to showing it than not showing it. Now, not only is it creatively fulfilling, not only is it super engaging online, but I did also mention about financial gain. Brands love behind the scenes. If you can go to a brand and say, I can give you this many photos and I can also provide you a behind the scenes video, albeit it might not be the best, but it's something. It's better than nothing. If you can approach a brand and say, I will give you this many photos and I will also provide a behind the scenes video as well, they are way more likely to say yes and work with you if you can provide that, because effectively you are giving them more deliverables. You're not only giving them photos, you're giving them video as well. More content to share on their social media. They're far more likely to say yes if you can, the more deliverables that you can give. If you're a great person, if you're engaging, which I'm sure you are, even if you're an introvert, you can still show a behind the scenes video, and I guarantee it will do so well for you and your business, I promise. So, different ways that you can share your creative process. You can film a behind the scenes video, which is obviously my favorite way. You can post pictures on Facebook, Instagram stories, you can tweet photos, short clips, Facebook and Instagram Live. That's something that's quite new to me. That's something I'm doing a little bit more of. If you're feeling super confident, yes, you can do that. You can blog your shoot as well. So do a blog post and share behind the scenes photos and do some wording that way. If you don't want to talk to camera, that's also a great way as well. Good for Google SEO, search engine optimization as well. You can make notes, share your notes, share different drawings, sketches, Pinterest boards, you can vlog it, share sketches and team selfies as well. All of these are great ways of showing the creative process. They humanize you, they show your love of photography, and it just shows that you work well in a team. Finally, before I go, I want everyone to do what I've been doing for the last 4 years, and I want you to create one personal project a month. Just one idea for you, no one else. I've never felt more creatively fulfilled than in my life than I am right now, because I am shooting what I want to shoot once a month, and that is slowly turning into becoming now my paid work. I'll leave you with this video that I did originally make for you guys back in March. It is online already, you may have seen it, but this is a summary of everything that we've spoken about today. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you next time. My name's Tommy Reynolds. Thanks very much for listening. As a creative, I honestly believe we live in an age where we get just as much fulfillment out of seeing the creative process as much as the final product itself. There's that age-old saying, it's not about the destination, it's the journey. As a photographer, I love to share my creative process. I actually get more excited when I share my latest behind the scenes video versus sharing the final images. I used to have reservations about sharing my process. I only wanted to share the final image, no before and after, just the after. But when you share your creative process, you're opening yourself up to becoming more empathetic, inspiring and vulnerable. Brené Brown famously says, vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. Pushing yourself to try something different and sharing how you created that piece of work is incredibly engaging to watch. We don't make art unless we really want to communicate something. It's like watching a movie. You wouldn't sit down to watch the last 15 minutes. You would want to see the build-up and the process that got you there. Well, it's the same with your photography. By simply sharing your process is not only for me creatively fulfilling, but has also played a huge part in my professional success. I've gained work with clients and brands in the past based solely because I've shared what I do and how I do it. Showing how I photograph something has been more successful for me than actually what I've photographed. But by doing this, you can show how you run your shoots, how you put a model at ease, the spaces that you use, the gear you use, and what setups you use. A final image can't always show you these great things, so let your audiences know just how much effort has gone into getting just that one shot. There are many different ways you can share what you're working on right now. You can post behind the scenes videos, time lapses, Pinterest boards, podcasts, storyboard sketches, behind the scenes photos, or even post Instagram stories. It's not only a great way to inspire other photographers or creatives, but can also be used to pitch to potential clients and gain paid work doing what you love. No one can explain it the way you can. Austin Kleon says, share what you love and people who love the same things will find you. So find something you're passionate about, feel creatively fulfilled, and grow your community through sharing your creative process.